Hey all, here are OS Reviews. So in our other video, we just checked out Soundcore's SpaceQ 45s, which were their large over-ear style headphones that delivers really good sound, high-res audio certification, and 50-hour battery life. At the same time, we'll be taking a look at another model in their new Space series. These are the A40s, and just like before, it mirrors a lot of the specs from those larger studio-style headphones, such as also having adaptive active noise cancellation, which claims up to 98% effectiveness, which is crazy out of buds which are so small. So as a reminder, what adaptive ANC means is, depending on your scenario, such as if you're in a loud space versus quiet, it will change the intensity of the noise cancellation automatically. It also packs 50 hours of battery life, which again is the same metric on the larger Q45s. So this is really long battery life as well that is coupled with the case. The buds themselves though will get you around 8 hours of continuous music listening time, but again you can top it up using the included casing. Otherwise it still comes again supported with LDAC certification, so high-res audio as far as wireless buds are concerned, and you can use their companion app to further tweak controls, including the Hear ID functionality. So you're able to change things like your custom EQ mode by doing a hearing test, a function that is retained from some of their other premium buds that we've seen in the past. So aside from the actual A40s inside the box, we also get access to just a quick user guide along with some spare silicone tips and a USB Type-C charging cable. Taking a closer look at the battery case here, it's constructed out of a matte plastic material but still feels pretty comfortable to hold. It's relatively compact and small, with a simple USB Type-C port on the back for charging, and this model does also support Qi wireless charging. Top it up without necessarily plugging in any cables, as you can see there. Simply pop them open and the buds will automatically turn on and start to pair with your device, so it should be a very quick connection process using the latest Bluetooth 5.3 chipset. Now, one thing that is worth keeping in mind here is Soundcore is still selling their technically flagship or really top-of-the-line headphones for the year, which came out a little earlier. That was the Liberty 3 Pros. And you might be wondering, well, what is the difference between these two models? Now, to begin with, the Space A40s will be selling for around $99 a pop, so it's not necessarily the cheapest pair of headphones, but considering all of these features that you're looking at, it is actually quite impressive for the value that you're getting, considering the adaptive ANC, the long battery life, the LDAC support. With the Liberty 3 Pros, they're still going to be more expensive by about $50. One of the benefits of this model is it has dual drivers built on in. So technically the speakers that they have inside is still of a higher quality, and you're able to still pick up more details and precision in the sound, just a wider sound stage compared to a single driver unit on these, which are 10 millimeters. But aside from that, again, the features are very close. The buds themselves, again, are magnetic, very easy to pop in and pop out, and you have some LED indication lights to tell you how much battery is remaining in the case. So the buds themselves, as aforementioned, they have a very clean design, but they're not necessarily the flashiest things in the world. They are touch sensitive on the top for changing things like skip track commands. You can also remap them to do things like volume, and overall they work well enough. There are these simple dots, and despite all the tech that's built on in, again, they are still relatively compact and slim, having just a glossy plastic build on the back along with the drivers here having a gold mesh, which is made out of metal, as you can see there. And maybe a final comparison with the aforementioned Liberty 3 Pros, you can tell that because these are dual drivers, they're going to be substantially larger. So before we talk about the audio quality, here's a quick look at their companion app, which again is the same used for all of their current generation headphones. We're able to see the battery percentage remaining, as well as toggle through the different ANC modes, including the audio transparency effect, so you're able to hear your surroundings using the microphones without removing the buds, giving you that spatial awareness. You can also turn ANC on, and then again from here you're able to change things like the intensity, so you have these controls for making it more strong or weak accordingly. Now this particular UI of having this dial design I do find to be a little bit confusing because it's not necessarily the most intuitive compared to on, surprisingly, the same Space Q45s. They've gone with a slider design, which I do prefer, but it is what it is. But there is also the aforementioned adaptive mode, which again uses the noise from your surroundings to detect how loud the intensity of the ANC should be. So right now it's going to be low, as you can see there, because we're now talking in a very quiet noise, and it's not triggering as much of a sound. But now that we started to rattle and shake a little bit more, it's gone back up to the medium level. So it does really make a difference, and I do like that intelligent switching. We can also remap the controls, such as what a single tap, double tap, and holding for 2 seconds will do. So right now, a single tap is turned off to prevent accidental triggers, but you can flick it on to turn the volume up or down. A double tap right now can be used to trigger skip track and play pause commands. Holding for 2 seconds can also go through the different ANC effects. So I think this really does answer one of the biggest maybe quirks that we had with some of their previous gen models, which was always having the single tap be disabled. So it really limited the number of commands that you could trigger and customize on their older headphones. But now I think they finally listened to that feedback and now given us that control so that you can bring back the volume keys directly on the buds just by tapping once, which is excellent. Now there's also the Hear ID presence. So it's an EQ that is customized, tailored just to your hearing capabilities. Personally, I do really like this function, and especially if you're someone that doesn't have perfect hearing, it becomes even more of a dramatic effect that is discernible. It just makes the sound become more lively, more dynamic, more alive once you have it flicked on. Now, of course, you also have access to some of the preset EQs, though, if you prefer. So aside from Hear ID, you get the option of using their own sound signatures EQ mode. You can also turn it into a bass boosted, bass reduced, acoustic, so on and so forth, depending on the genre that you're listening to for even more granular controls that is included by default. And then under custom, you're able to change the frequency ranges yourself to get you a more nuanced sound if you want to get to that level of granularity. Similarly, under the advanced controls, you're able to take a look at whether you want the tones to be turned on or off. That is, whenever you're tapping, it will make an audible click to give you the feedback that you've pressed on it, but you can also turn it off if you prefer. Wind noise reduction is more for making phone calls. There is also a gaming mode that is triggered on here, which is pretty neat. So you can access a low latency effect when you're watching videos or gaming, along with turning on the LDAC mode. So again, as a reminder, LDAC is going to get you the highest resolution of audio possible, but it will also be passing through more data as a result. So it's going to decrease the latency, but improve the audio quality. So if you are just listening to a podcast or an album, you can try having that function turned on for the best effect. But if you're gaming, obviously you would probably want to lower that mode and instead trigger the other option. As a reminder, LDAC is only compatible with Android devices at the moment. Now, if we talk about the audio quality and performance next, a few remarks here would be that, indeed, the Space A40s don't disappoint in terms of packing in very good sound, especially at the sub $100 price range. There's a ton of detail, especially if you have LDAC turned on, coupled with a Hear ID EQ mode. You're able to listen to so much nuances in terms of details of singers' vocals, instrumentals that you would otherwise miss. Bass is present for sure, so if you're listening to a drum beat, it gets you a nice kick. I wouldn't say it's overpowering, and to be completely honest, it might be a touch less aggressive compared to the aforementioned Liberty 3 Pros, but still delivers a very good balanced experience. Mids and trebles also are great in terms of still preserving textures from singers' vocals, don't sound too harsh or artificial, and overall just a very dynamic sound that definitely sucks you into the music. ANC, though, is where these truly do shine. I have to say they're one of the best performing active noise canceling buds I've ever tried. That rating definitely transfers into just getting you almost complete silence when you are listening to music. If you're on a bus, you're on a car, the engine sounds almost get completely canceled out. It's very good. With that being said, higher frequency sounds can still occasionally creep in a little bit. That is the norm with most of these ANC technologies in general, but overall still getting you one of the best immersive experiences on par with what Sony and Bose can provide. So that is more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the new Anker Soundcore Space A40. I think this has been an impressive showing. It's kind of combining their slightly more utilitarian, simple design as part of kind of their DOT series. They're ultra compact, they have long battery life, but also starting to merge it with more high-end functions. They're a very well-rounded pair of buds that doesn't break the bank. So you can check out more details if you're interested in links down below, primarily I think for commuters that want really good sound plus active noise cancellation. These are worth a closer look. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Space A40.